Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dicing with Death. So, spells made, spells entered into databases, spells discussed. Devon, what you up to after learning these spells?
What's happened in that time? What's the status of the silver mine? What's the status of Krob? What is my tower looking like?
Right. So, you have been building this tower. You have been pulling Earth from the elemental plane of Earth through the gateway portal. You've been extruding it and then fabricating it after having cast ESP on a craftsman to help gain some insight into construction and architectural concepts. In the meantime, you built a copper mine and started minting copper coins. You found a silver mine after chasing an elemental around. You learned to summon these elementals and made some other cool, fun spells. So I think the next big thing is that Shelter Bay is coming up against a problem. Some of the construction material, well, most of the construction materials, they get there because Shelter Bay is sort of carved into a rock wall. So you don't need materials to build it so much as you just need to like carve stuff out and chuck it into the sea or haul it away. What they do need in Shelter Bay is good lumber to extend like piers and docks actually into the water. And the source of that lumber has been that forest right next to Shelter Bay. And you will get a messenger arriving in Nekrot one day saying that one of the wood cutting parties that went into the woods wasn't heard from for a couple of days. So eventually a search party was sent out after them, and their remains were found stacked in a sort of like a neat circle that looked like some sort of writing or some sort of rune or some sort of like arcane sign or sigil. There was some sort of meaningful arrangement of the body parts that had been like severed from the main corpses, and clearly not all the body parts were present and accounted for, and what was left was arranged in a way. This led the people to freak the fuck out, abandon the forest, and send a runner to Devon to sort out what is going on.
Sounds most intriguing. Is this after all of the spell research?
Or near the ending of the spell research, maybe last couple of days. I'm sure you are at full by now.
Yeah, Devon will set out for Shelter Bay. Has Devon ever been there? Or has he just heard tales of it?
You helped select a location.
Yeah. Was that in person or was that just from a map? I am a cartographer. So presumably,
Presumably you have visited the place to help map it out and decided on the exact location. Although I expect the construction of most of it is being done by other people.
Although the construction method sounded very much up Devon's alley. Like digging into cliff faces with disintegration spells, or fabricating into cliff faces. Like it sounds like maybe he got it started, and they continued from there using more old-fashioned techniques. But okay, so I think I was probably there before it was built, surveying it.
Yeah.
In the time that we've skipped, Devon has probably spent a good deal amount of time mapping out the land and carving it into stone tablets and the like. Maybe taking notes on papyrus. Although with his clairvoyance, he can go... I think actually that might only be like 1 hex away. So maybe he does need to do it by hand. Anyways, it seems like it's time to revisit Shelter Bay. I will procure some rations to avoid the drama from last time.
Ah, yes. And you gather yourself plenty of rations.
Yeah, let's see. Weight can I handle? 55 pounds, maybe about 20 pounds of ration. All right. We've got 10 days worth of rations. Should be enough. Oh, Oh no. I think someone might need a diaper change.
Uh-oh.
We'll give her a minute to keep working through, but
Okay.
we're gonna take another break. Or you can entertain the people while I take care of this little one. Yeah, I know that sounds uncomfortable.
Aww.
So Devon will set out, presumably on foot. Do we have horses? Or camels?
No, I think this is a pretty rocky area. It's not very conducive to holding horses here because the hills don't have quite the same grasslands that the lowlands would. Mm-hmm. So if there are horses kept here, fodder probably has to be brought in to support them, or they're like scrawny, weak, short horses.
Okay. What about like camels or?
I think you mostly carry things by goat is what we had discussed earlier.
Okay. All right, but you can't ride a goat.
You cannot ride a goat.
So Devon sets off on foot.
Mm-hmm. All right. On foot we go.
Where is... Oh, there's my... You're my marker.
It is going to be, what, a 1, 2, 3-day journey to Shelter Bay for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're bringing back the runner who came to find you. Are you taking anyone with you? Most importantly, are you taking your apprentice with you, or are you leaving them behind?
Ooh.
Is this a learning experience, or is this too dangerous for them, and they need to go make you some more scrolls of papyrus?
Unless there is something important to be done in Necroth that they're seeing too, I think Cassandra will tag along.
Excellent. Okay. You bring Cassandra, and you will head out. No encounter encounter that you don't care about. Cool.
You mean, how do you know I don't care about it? I catch the cockatrice.
3 days later, you with Cassandra and this runner in tow will arrive at Shelter Bay. And you will see that the people here are sort of in two camps at this moment. There is the group that is camping on the ground, and they've moved like away from where the city is being built and are camping outside of the woods. And then there is a group who is living on ships and boats. And then the construction of the town is sort of coming from two ends. You know, you've got the people who are building the piers, and they often work from boats. And you got people who are building the actual town itself in the cliff face, and they're working from land. And they work together, but they sort of like live in two separate camps. Anyway, you will walk through the land camp, see the water camp, as you make your way towards Shelter Bay. And the workers, craftsmen, laborers, camp people that show up and help these folks out, laundry doers and whatnot, will hop out of their tents to come see Devon the Divine of Necrot show up himself to deal with this corpse circle, what they're calling it.
Mm-hmm. Am I greeted by anyone in particular, or just a crowd of onlookers?
A crowd of onlookers. You would probably recognize at least a couple of people here, maybe a lead architect and a lead foreman, unnamed people that we haven't dealt with so far.
Yeah. I will turn to the messenger then and ask him how far into the woods is are the bodies.
2 miles.
What time of day is it?
5 in the afternoon on a autumn day, so a few hours of daylight left.
I suppose let's get straight to it then.
Okay.
And Cassandra and I will head out. Can you lead the way, or do you need a break? Messenger.
I can show you. I was the one who found them. I'll be happy to take you there. And the messenger will set out immediately. You can find the trail through the woods where all the really large trees have been felled, the ones that were good enough to like create pylons or make bridges. while most of the smaller trees have been left beside, or the trees that are like too thick around to be useful have been left. It's clear they're picking a very specific type of tree. And along this path and swath of destruction you follow, there's a trail for part of it where the trees get dragged, and then that trail vanishes as you get deeper into the woods. And you reach a point where the messenger will stop and say, well, this is as far as we harvest. We don't harvest anything past here, or haven't yet. But it's beyond this point where we found the bodies. That's why it took us so long, because we haven't gone past here very often.
Well, Devon continues walking, leaning against his staff.
All right.
And looking about. Cassandra probably 15 feet behind him.
You can get another mile or so into the woods when
the messenger leading the way.
The messenger is leading the way.
Or at least, pointing the way.
When you find a natural depression in the ground, it's almost like a semi-sphere of an impression. At the very middle of it is some standing water. Not a lot, just probably what collected from the last few rainfalls and hasn't quite evaporated yet. The grasses down there are a little bit taller. The trees are a little bit bigger. And the messenger will point, mouth agape, at this area and say, the parts were right here. They were down in the depression. There were arms and legs and hands and torsos and necks.
In this pond, Devon says, looking into the water.
Around the pond. There's, the pond's in the very middle, but the depression, it slopes up, and the water doesn't fill the whole depression, only the very middle of it.
Devon sort of looks around with his eyes. Does he see any disturbances, any blood, any impressions where a foot may have been sitting?
No, there's nothing obvious, nothing that you can tell with just a casual look around. There's certainly no blood or signs of this mess.
Turning to Cassandra, he says, do you detect any magic?
She will step forward.
And she'll cast her vanilla detect magic spell.
She will cast it and look about, point to the water and say, in the water, there's something. I detect...
Roll your 20% chance, or 10% chance, or whatever.
She can get the school or strength automatically?
Strength automatically, school is the percentage.
There's a moderate level of magic in the water. I can't tell what school. It blurs before me.
How deep does the pool look?
It is gross, nasty water that is opaque.
Okay. On approaches the edge of the pool and thinks.
So you crawl down or climb down into the depression?
Oh, does it need to be it's not a gradual depression, it's like a sinkhole or something?
Yeah, it's not so steep that you probably need both your hands, but it's a careful walk down. We would call it, difficult terrain, or, almost a climb check needed. You can ascend and descend fairly easily, fairly reliably, but it's one of those moments where the footing is unstable and it's kind of steep, and you grab onto a tree over here to position yourself and put your staff on this over here.
I'm gonna go take care of this one. Do you want to take a break, or do you want to entertain the people?
We'll take a short break while you're away. Okay, see you guys very soon.